Now that we've got a good looking monster, let's merge all of these layers together into one single layer. Going up to the layer drop-down menu, towards the very bottom, choose Merge Visible. Shift-Command-E is the keyboard shortcut. Notice now that it's all one single layer, and then we can double-click and rename this layer Monster. Next, let's open up our background. We're going to File and Open. We can navigate to the Lesson 9 and choose Backdrop Photoshop document. That'll give us this. Let's put both of them up side by side so we can see them. So go to Window, Arrange, and do 2 up vertical. This will put them side by side. We can then use the black arrow move tool to click on our monster and drag it into here and then let go. Now we want to position so that the hands are just above the words, and that's a good little position, nice and centered. From here, we can go back to our original monster. Let's just close him out. We don't have to save him, but we do have to work in our backdrop. So let's go to File, and we'll do a Save As for this one. For this backdrop, we'll call it Movie Poster. Let's put our name on it as well, Ivy. Photoshop will be the document format, and say Save. Now let's go to File and Open, and we want to add the little tombstone to it. So let's double click on the T1 tombstone to open it up as a separate document. If you go over to the bottom of your tool panel, you can press the D key, and this will automatically restore the default fill for both the foreground and the background color. Now this tombstone looks nice, but it's pretty plain. So let's apply a little texture filter on top of it. Going up to the filter drop-down menu, let's choose Render, and let's do Difference Clouds. Because we had black and white selected, you can see it's got black and white type clouds on top of it. Also, let's focus in on just one particular area. So returning up to the filter, let's go to our Blur Gallery and open up the Iris Blur. This will open up the little separate editor inside of here, and we can click and drag on the inside to move this around so it's nice and centered up for this one. And then we'll click OK once it's centered up on the top up there. Now let's brighten it up just a little bit. In the Adjustments panel, located over here, let's open up and find the single adjustment for brightness and contrast that'll be added on top of layer 1. Let's increase the brightness of it to be about a positive 70 or so. You can see how that really brightens it up to make the letters stand out. We can also add a little bit of a color overlay by going back to our adjustments. Let's open up the channel mixer, which is down here towards the bottom on top of this. In the properties panel, we can go to our green channel for the output. And let's change the green value to be plus 37 and the blue value to be plus 108. Or thereabouts. The final adjustment that we want to apply to this is an exposure adjustment. So scroll down till you find exposure, and let's set the overall exposure to everything to be plus 0.9. So right about there or so. If it's off by a little bit, that's okay. Now we've made a lot of different changes to this design. If we ever needed to back up in time, rather than just go into Edit and Undo or Command Z, we can open up our History panel by going to Window and select History. And if we need to, we can click and drag and open it. The History panel remembers up to 50 of the last things that we've done. So you can see where you can actually click anywhere, like if you go to the Blur Gallery state, it'll back it up to that particular point. Or you can move forward by clicking on another thing and be able to reapply those. And you can go all the way back up to Difference Clouds to where it started. So with difference clouds selected, the thing to remember is that if you do anything different from this point forward, you're going to lose all of these edits and changes. So for instance, if I started here and I went back up to my filter, down to noise, and I wanted to add some noise to it, add some little speckles. From here, we'll set the amount to be about 3%. We'll type it in, and we're going to do a Gaussian distribution, and we're going to make it monochromatic and say OK. You can see now how it's applied, and it applied add noise from this point moving forward. Now to bring it into our poster, let's put it 2 up by going to our Arrange, to a Vertical, and then use our Move tool. We'll drag it into here. If you get a profile mismatch warning, that's okay. We'll say OK to it, and then simply place it kind of down here underneath that area. We can also go over to our T1 and close it out without saving it. The final thing we want to add to our movie poster is a little image up here at the top. We'll go to File and Open. In this case, choose the Faces JPEG and say Open for here. And you can see this gives you a pretty good clue that this is a very small image. If we zoom in to about 300, you can see how it starts to really become pixelated. And certainly if you get closer, you can start to see the individual pixels that make this up. If you want to see the exact size of it, you can go to Image, Image Size, and you can see that this is a 3x4 with a low resolution of 72 pixels per inch. What we want to do is to use a filter that allows us to increase the size of it and fill in the appropriate pixels without actually losing any of the quality. So let's go up to Filter and locate the Neural Filters. Now, Photoshop can resample this area, and this neural filter can upscale a low-resolution image using machine learning that can be a lot more effective than the older versions or older ways of recreating and reprocessing this. Now, the filter that we want to use is found under Photography for Super Zoom. If it's not already downloaded, you can see the little cloud icon. So let's download it first if you've not done it already. This may take just a moment, but once it's ready, you can see we've got our options, and it gives us further options over on the far right-hand side. We do get a little preview, and let's zoom in until we see it about 3 times the size, as well as setting our noise reduction to be 3. This is going to get rid of a lot of the noise that's inside the area. We can also remove JPEG artifacts. And if we want to see the difference, we can click, down here at the bottom and turn on and off the original. So you can see how this smooths everything out before and after. And it does a really good job of recognizing the skin and making sure everything doesn't lose appropriate details. Finally, make sure your output is set to New Document and click OK. This is going to generate a new document on the side that gives us our image nice and zoomed in, but also high resolution and looking good and smooth. This time, to bring it over, let's go to Select All, and then go up to Edit and Copy. When we jump over to our movie poster, before you paste, let's go up to our rectangular marquee and choose the elliptical marquee. Now we want to paste this inside of an elliptical area that fades into it. So at the very top, set your feather settings to be 50 pixels. Now we can make a selection of an area up here at the top, right about this big. It doesn't look feathered, but this will give you an idea that the edges are going to be nice and soft. Let's make sure layer 1 is selected. And we go to paste it, let's go to Edit, and we're going to paste special, and we're going to paste into the area that we've got selected. If you get a profile mismatch, we'll say OK to that. And now you can see how it pastes this right inside of that area. Now, if you can see the edges a little bit, that's okay. We can always make a change to it. Let's go down to our Layers panel and select the layer mask. We can then use our Move tool And with transform turned on, we can transform the circle and bring it inward till it just touches the edge of our picture that we have. That's looking good there. We can then select the picture to go back to editing mode. And the final thing we'll do to make this really blend in is with layer 2 selected, change your blending mode to luminosity, and let's knock down the opacity of it to be about 50%. That way it's not so much. With this done, now the movie poster is complete. Let's go up to File and save our work. And you're going to upload this Photoshop movie poster for the monster to the Canvas page.